Alright guys, the Iceman here on the Iceman's Return YouTube channel, and wow, what a Raw tonight. For the go home show for Night of Champions, they had just about everything. I thought it was an excellent show. You know, if you could give it a 10, really, you'd give it out, damn close to a 10. I just thought the show was just like magnificent. Pretty much started off, Edge's music hit. And boy, was I glad to see Edge. I haven't seen Edge in so long, and the crowd in Canada loved it. I mean, Edge is one of their big heroes, as well as Chris Jericho and Christian. Uh, it was a fantastic ovation for Edge. But anyway, he was going to do the cutting edge, and I guess Triple H wanted him to have Randy Orton on, but Edge decided, it's his show. He's going to have on whoever he wanted. So he called out Daniel Bryan, and they were talking about the opportunity of Daniel Bryan to go up against Randy Orton in Night of Champions, and basically what he thought if he could defeat Randy Orton. And of course, Daniel Bryan, the ultimate in motivation and you know uh, he just never gives up. And of course, he said yes, he could defeat Randy Orton. And I'm gonna tell you something. It was great. Then we heard Randy Orton's music hit, and Orton came out along with Triple H, and Triple H basically telling Edge you know, he was a guy that, you know, is a loser and whatnot. Edge pointed out to Triple H that you never thought John Cena would ever get anywhere. You never thought that he himself, Edge, would get anywhere. Chris Jericho, and of course Triple H made it a point to admit that he was wrong with Cena and Jericho, but with Edge, he was absolutely right that Edge was a loser, that he was a failure and whatnot. And this segment went on for a little bit, and Triple H told Daniel Bryan he was going to have a match with the Shield's Dean Ambrose with the other two members of the Shield in the corner, and Daniel Bryan was going to have Big Show in his corner. So at that point, we thought, okay, that's pretty darn good, pretty darn even. Uh, and Edge just kept going on, but then the Shield appeared, and they brought out a beaten and battered Christian, of course, Edge's best friend from when they were kids. Edge ran down, and pretty much Triple H told Edge to get out of his building, and that segment pretty well ended. But it was all in all, I mean, it was a great opening segment. So I really enjoyed that. Um, we then saw the next match or the first match, I should say, Kofi Kingston going up against Curtis Axel, along with Paul Heyman. Um, a pretty good match overall. It got to the point where Curtis Axel sort of lost his cool, and he sort of got disqualified. And Heyman was like delirious, saying, "You can't do this because if you do this at Night of Champions and you get disqualified, that means Punk wins and he faces me next." So Paul Heyman's thinking in the back of his mind, he goes, "Oh man, what am I doing here? What's going on?" So they leave the ring, and ultimately, Paul Heyman seems to slip, and he basically claims he hurt his knee. Um, and you know, I knew what was going to come later on after that, but anyway, it was a pretty good segment there. We saw Booker T talk to Big Show and tell him, we know you got pride, but you need to do what's best for yourself. And then Big Show walked away, basically telling Booker, "All I have left is pride." So I mean, that was pretty cool. So then we saw Dolph Ziggler going up against Bray Wyatt. Uh, Crazy with Rowan and Harper outside the ring. And as we know, as of late, Dolph Ziggler really has not done much in the ring. And again tonight, he sort of got some momentum going. Uh, Harper and Rowan tried to interfere, but their interference wasn't really significant enough. But Bray Wyatt ended up overpowering Dolph Ziggler and ended up defeating him. So, it wasn't that bad of a match, but you sort of get tired of seeing Dolph Ziggler get beat after a while. So, uh, then we saw Paul Heyman with Axel go to the ring. Paul Heyman on crutches, and he brought out a man, and we were all wondering who he was. And he said that is his doctor that he brings with him to Canada because Canada, he doesn't trust their physicians and whatnot. And the doctor said that Heyman wasn't probably able to compete at Night of Champions. Brad Maddox comes out with the WWE doctor or trainer, and he checks out Paul Heyman, and he basically tells Maddox and the WWE Universe that he don't find anything wrong with Heyman's knee. Heyman gets very, very upset. CM Punk's music hits. Punk comes out. Heyman gets scared shitless and takes off running. So obviously it was a ploy, which I thought, from the very start. It was a pretty good segment. We didn't really see too much of Punk tonight, which was sort of disappointing. But he did take the kendo stick and beat down the fake doctor of Paul Heyman. So, that wasn't too bad. So, it is what it is. So anyway, after that, we saw a women's triple tag team match. AJ came out and she was at the announce booth with JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry DeCane Lawler. And it was Natalya, Brie, and Naomi going up against Alicia Fox, Layla, and I think it was Eve. It got to the point where so much stuff was going on. I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember who the third diva was. A very quick diva match, but it's just to the point. It's the go home show for Night of Champions. Natalya ended up getting the pin, and AJ was spewing off her usual blarb. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens to AJ in this Fatal 4-Way at Night of Champions. It ought to be a pretty good match. So, I was pretty happy with that. We saw a bunch of segments of Goldust tonight because Goldust was going to have a match with Randy Orton, and this basically, if Goldust wins, Cody Rhodes would get rehired. And I'll tell you one thing. We haven't seen Goldust on Raw in like 3 years. And I'll tell you, when I get to that match, it was a hell of a lot better than I really thought it was going to be. So after that segment, we saw R-Truth come out. He was taking on Alberto Del Rio. I don't know what the significance was of that match. Except I think right now they want Alberto. They're trying to make Alberto look real strong. And he has been looking strong as of late. He's a very good heel world heavyweight champion. And I haven't done my predictions yet for Night of Champions. But I just want to say that Alberto is probably going to retain his belt at Night of Champions. I do understand a lot of times when they make you look so good, you usually end up losing. But I think on Night of Champions, I think Alberto Del Rio is going to end up holding the World Heavyweight title belt. So that was, that was a pretty good match. And, we'll just have to wait and see what really actually comes about that. Then we saw good old Zeb Coulter come out doing his usual, big mouth spree. He came out with Antonio Cesaro and, we the people, of course. And, Who returns? None other than Santino Marella. And I'll be honest with you, it makes you wonder. You know, usually when a guy comes back like that, he's going to win, you know. And I'll tell you, they really sort of make Antonio Cesaro look like a loser. The guy has such great talent. And I think this gimmick, along with Zeb Coulter, is not working for him. They need to find another gimmick. I know a lot of people are out there talking about gimmicks and their 5 worst gimmicks. I go, to me, this is one of them. I think he's such more talented than this, and I really do believe that he needs another gimmick, and the WWE really needs to push this young guy because he does have a lot of talent. Santino Marella did come out on top of this match, and one would expect that because he did just return, and that's what usually happens in the WWE. So, I mean, that's how it goes. Then we saw the Money in the Bank winner for the World Heavyweight Champion, Damien Sandow, go up against The Miz. And I was glad to see The Miz tonight. I'm a big fan of The Miz. The Miz hasn't really done much in a very, very long time. This match started off pretty good until, and I say until, Fandango and Summer Rae came out, their music hit. It sort of distracted The Miz, and Damien Sandow ended up getting the roll up and the pin. So The Miz, you know, lost this match. But again, it's the go-home show for Night of Champions, and the WWE did a great job of really getting really much everybody on the show tonight. So after that, we saw Goldust going up against Randy Orton, and I'm going to tell you, just like Cody Rhodes did last week on Monday Night Raw, Goldust really went to town on Randy Orton. Both guys just went at it for a good long period of time. Goldust showed what he really can do in the ring, and you know, and give him a lot of credit because he is a really good wrestler. He's got the wrestling background by the, you know, Dusty Rhodes name, and you know, unfortunately, the Goldust gimmick just is lost and gone. It's faded. It's not really used much anymore, and this is the first time in 3 years that we saw Goldust on Monday Night Raw. But I'll tell you, he gave it his all. He tried to win respect back for himself to the family, trying to get Cody back into the WWE, but it came to no avail because at the end, Randy Orton came out on top. And the thing that really got me was after the match, Goldust is walking through the hallways, and the bitch comes out, Stephanie McMahon, and basically calling him a loser, just like his loser brother, and whatnot. And it just, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are playing their part to the T. I mean, but the bottom line is, in the long run, you're going to see them both fall. I'll guarantee it. So let Stephanie be the bitch that she is, and let Triple H be the jackass that he is, because they are going to definitely lose in the long run. So, I mean, that was just a great match. I mean, that was, to me, that was the second best match of the night, and you couldn't go wrong with that. So, anyway, we saw RVD come out. He had a match up against Ryback. RVD came out with Ricardo Rodriguez. And this was just another match just to get RVD on the show. RVD was really taking it to Ryback in the early going, but towards the end, Ryback got RVD out of the ring and slammed him into the wall, the barrier wall there. And then he took him and he rammed him into the ring post between the legs on a couple different occasions, you know, back to back. And that pretty much did it for RVD. And Ryback ended up getting the pin and winning the match. And then Alberto Del Rio came out and was just sort of gloating for the fact that, you know, he is champion and RVD is going to challenge him at Night of Champions. And he lost tonight. So, moving on to the main event. Daniel Bryan going up against Dean Ambrose with the Shield in Ambrose's corner. Big Show was told he's going to be in Bryan's corner, but he's going to sit back away in a chair. And I'll tell you, one of these nights, and I thought it was going to happen tonight, but I really thought Big Show was going to say, screw you guys, I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to go after you guys. But Ambrose and Bryant put on a clinic match. It was a superb match. It was a typical Daniel Bryan match. I mean, he was just excellent. And give kudos to Dean Ambrose because he as well, he put on a great performance tonight as well. The Shield got, interfered on numerous occasions, but to no avail. Daniel Bryan held his own. And at the very end, Daniel Bryan ended up pinning Dean Ambrose. I mean, the crowd just erupted. I mean, it was so, so awesome. And then, of course, after that, the usual typical thing. Here comes Triple H. Here comes Stephanie. Stephanie McMahon is just... she's the bitch, man. She's the bitch. And basically, Randy Orton went in there and took care of Daniel Bryan after the Shield got him after the win. Big Show was told to go in there and knock him out once again. He went into the ring. He held the fist together. He was very, very reluctant. He turned his back. Randy Orton went to him and said, "You were told. You heard what you were told. You heard what you were told to do. You need to do this." Then out of the blue, Daniel Bryan kicked down Randy Orton, and Big Show just walked away. I mean, it was a true epic ending to go into Night of Champions. I really don't know about SmackDown because I don't think SmackDown can really do anything better than what Monday Night Raw brought. It was an excellent show. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, really watch it because right from the very start to the very end, it was excellent. I mean, I'll tell you this much. I don't like the corporate shit. I haven't right from the very start. And I'm really starting to get aggravated with Stephanie McMahon because she is showing her true colors, because she is a McMahon and she just thinks that she can do anything she wants, and she's just like Triple H. But like I said, it's going to backfire on her and Triple H in the long run. We just have to be patient and wait and see when the time comes. So this has been a long day. This is the Iceman. This is my Raw review. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.